Oh, fans are saying Farke now has to beat Wolves or he is gone. Welcome back to 20 minutes of Leeds United chat. Hope you're doing well. We're discussing the Fulham result this week, and many people are starting now to look and put pressure on the 49ers. Farke asked for players, he didn't get them. Who is responsible for this start to the season? How would you grade the transfer window as well? Thank you very much for joining us. If you're a Leeds fan and can squeeze 20 minutes of an extra Leeds podcast into your life, you're very welcome. Do drop us a quick subscribe and a quick like. We've got Chris with us this week to look back on Fulham. We've got lots of interesting tweets to get through as well, Chris, but let's start off with where do you sit on the 49ers or Farke? Who's getting it more wrong?
Um, I would say it's the 49ers for me because, as you mentioned, Farke asked for players. He didn't get them. And it's very obvious we're lacking in that attacking department. I don't know where the goals will come from because it doesn't look like we have any hope in scoring from open play. And I think if we'd addressed the area that we said so publicly we needed, that we might have had more of a chance. But we've signed two strikers. They're both free and they're both injury prone. So it's sort of like you get what you get what you've asked for.
Yeah, one dodgy penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty. Keith Burton says this is on you. There's no quality in defence. Haven't scored a goal in open play in 4 games. Can't see the goals has come from. What's the saying? Couldn't score in a bottle. Thanks, Yanks, but no thanks. I feel sorry for Farke in some ways because we're now reading things like we said at the start of the show. Liam here says we have to beat Wolves now. I'm not going to lie. If we lose that, I don't think we can wait any longer to change our manager. Probably harsh, because there's so many positives how we're playing, but the same limitations are gonna hold us back. Obviously, with Nuno Espirito Santos becoming available and Jose Mourinho becoming available, some Leeds fans are starting to get a little bit itchy feet around Farke. Where are you at with your confidence in him?
I mean, I think he's got us playing really well defensively. We look very solid defensively, apart from the Arsenal game. Our midfield looks like it can hold its own, and it definitely helps driving forward. I just think the clear error for us is that we don't have anyone to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's not his fault. I think the only blame that he can take is sending Ramazani out on loan. But again, that might not have been his decision. So I don't know, but I think he's going to be here to stay regardless. If you look at Rangers and how Russell Martin's performing and the 49ers are backing him, and Farke's obviously doing a much better job here, so I can't see him going anytime soon at all.
Um, these sort of tweets here, it's just not going to land anywhere, are they? They're only new in new in post. They've got huge ambitions for the club. So yeah, calling on them to leave and sell the club as I've seen is just it's a complete waste of time, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they've made it very well known they're here to flip a quick profit, and they only want to be here for a couple more years and sell the club. But they have said they want us to be in Europe by that time. But then they don't give us any real money for an attacker. So it's kind of like, are you expecting miracles? Because they're not going to happen, especially with how much more difficult the league is entering it now than 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, and let's go back to that Fulham game though a second. I mean, it wasn't a bad performance, was it? Let's take the result out of it. I mean, in the first half you were more than a match for Fulham, if not the better team for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say we didn't deserve to lose that. Fulham definitely didn't deserve to win it. I think a draw would have been an even result. If we could have maybe taken some more chances, we might have been able to nick it. But again, like I'm very happy with how we're playing defensively, and it's a freak goal that I've never seen anything like it ever happen before. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to Leeds. So
Okay, let's look at a couple more then. Nate says we are 4 games in, four and not one goal from open play. Absolutely flatlining on attacking options. We don't have a competent set piece taker. Absolutely mental. Reese says it's very worrying. We don't even look like scoring. Then we're scoring OGs from that position in 84th minute. We can't even hold out for a draw. Yeah, what's your take on that
I
competent
think
set piece at one?
Yeah, I think it's a very clear weakness that we have, and we've just signed a set piece coach. I'm not sure what he's going to do because we don't have a set piece taker. We seem to mix and match between different players throughout the game. I thought when we signed Okafor that he would be the set piece taker, given that he's a winger, he's got a
Yeah.
good cross on him, but doesn't look like he is going to be. And we've rotated with Statch, Goodmanson. A few other players have taken him as well. I know there's always Gruev that looks like he wants to take one as well when he's playing. So I don't really think we've got any idea what we're doing from them. I think it's more just hit it into the box and hope for the best.
When we look at Sunderland's squad, they've only got two players in there, in Trey Hume and Isidore, which were part of their team, which took them up to the Premier League. When we then look at your starting 11, we can most of that squad, or most of those starting 11, or over half of them, are players that still took you up from the Championship. Is that going to be the difference, do you think, between you staying up and not, that Sunderland have heavily invested and got Premier League quality, whereas perhaps you haven't fully embraced that market?
Yeah, I think when I looked at it on the whole, I thought Sunderland had bought too many players and they were going to maybe struggle to gel. I know there's obviously the big debate about how they'll do when AFCON comes up, and then I looked at Burnley's squad and a lot of their players are from the Championship as well, and then you look at ours and it is a largely Championship squad, and it's not because we've not bought in the players. We just aren't using them. Farke's keeping them on the bench. Bijol in centre back, we paid 15 million for him, and he's not kicked a ball in the league yet. So I don't really understand why. I get it. We're looking very strong defensively, bar one game, but maybe he gives us that bit extra. I mean, it is a concern, but it's something that we can maybe address in Jan, although the 49ers have come out and said they're not looking likely to move in the market either.
Does he know his best starting 11 yet? I mean, when you look at that bench at Fulham, you've already mentioned Bijo. You had Noto on there as well, Gruev. Justin, of course, you've signed as well. Tanaka was there with Dan James. I mean, crikey, any of them walk into any Championship side, and probably some of the teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, with Tanaka, he's just come back from injury. I don't think he was fully fit, so I agree with not risking him for that. James Justin has obviously got the experience in the Prem, but he's not going to play ahead of Bogle. I wouldn't want him to. Bijol, I think there's an argument for him starting over Strauch, but again, I think Farke has his favourites. We see that with Brendan Aronson. Last season he came back to the club and he all of a sudden locked down a position in number 10 and seemed to just stay there for like 90% of the season when he wasn't playing well. Now we seem to have locked down a starting position on right wing when he's not really contributing anything either. So I'm not entirely sure how he's managing to do it, but I think every Leeds fan can see that Nonto should be on the right, Okafor on the left, and either Calvert-Lewin or Metcha up top. But we're not going to get that because Farke is stubborn, and if it's not Aronson, it's James, and neither of them really produce anything.
How did you rate Calvert-Lewin's hour and a bit that he gave you on Saturday?
I think it was promising. He's obviously still lacking that uh, fitness and that sharpness. He's obviously still rusty, but he got in some really good positions. He held the ball up. He found some great space. Obviously, had a good header which was saved. But another day maybe something comes off. But I think it's not really a gamble we should have been taking. And we did look a bit more threatening when Metcha came on, or we held the ball up a little bit more. And I think maybe if it clicks, it might be all right. But it's a big risk on whether it will click or not.
Yeah. Okay. Let us know your thoughts on that game. Wolves and Bournemouth then to come. Obviously, away at Molineux this weekend, and then home to Bournemouth. Is it minimum 4 points from those two, or
I mean,
would two be okay?
I thought the minimum 4 points were going to be from Fulham and Wolves. I don't see us getting anything from Bournemouth. They're a great team. They've got a great manager. Yes, we are playing at home, but I think you just sometimes look at teams and think they're too good. And Bournemouth just seem to have clicked. They've not lost all season. They're on a pretty good roll at the moment. They've sort of just picked up from where they left off last season. So I think 3 points is the minimum we need. We need to beat Wolves because Wolves are struggling even more than we are. So if we lose to them, then it's sort of panic stations. It's like, well, if we can't beat them, who can we beat?
Yeah. Will you start calling for his head if you lose to Wolves and Bournemouth, or is it?
I think it depends.
Just stay patient.
It really depends on the performance. If we go to Wolves and we outplay them massively, and it's another case of we don't have the attackers to put it in the net, I can't really say it's his fault. If we go there and we get outplayed and we lose and we sort of look all over the place and Aronson's playing and he's playing longer than he should, then you've got to look at it. Is it time to kind of get someone in that's not going to have that view of I want to play my favourites? But I think it really depends on the performance, to be honest.
Okay, brilliant. Right, we'll leave that Fulham game alone there for a second. Of course, last time we were talking to you, Chris, the transfer window was about to slam shut. You were hoping for a bit more business to do. Now it has closed. Can we ask you to grade it from 1 to 10 on how good or bad it has been?
I would say it was quite below average. I think it started really well. It started really promising. We got in some good recruitment early. Stach, Goodmanson, Bijol, players that have obviously played at the highest leagues in their respective countries and etc. But I think when you look at Calvert-Lewin and Okafor being the only two signings we made in like the last 3-4 weeks of the window, James Justin as well, obviously, then it is a bit worrying. More so the fact that we were screaming out for another player or another two attacking players publicly in like post-match interviews as well for the last 2 weeks. Our owner or our Parag, our chairman, going out and saying, we're going to be very active up until the last minute, and then nothing happening for 2 weeks. It just seems like an absolute disaster, and it is a disaster, and it's going to have a big impact, I think, on our season.
Was there a number in there?
4.5.
Okay. In the comments, let us know if you think that's harsh, whether you'd even put it lower than that. Cheers, Chris. International break, of course, also throws up the question of club versus country. So our final debate this week, even if it is a debate, I don't think it might be, very long one anyway. Would you sooner see Leeds in your lifetime win the Premier League, but England win nothing, or would you sooner see England win the World Cup and Leeds just totter around Premier League, Championship, not winning a thing? Chris?
I would rather see Leeds beat Man United than England win the World Cup. For me, I sat through Leeds playing Sheffield Wednesday's under-21s. And yeah, I don't care for international football unless it's the Euros, unless it's the World Cup. I won't sit there and watch us play Serbia because, I don't really have that connection to it. I think for me, club over country is not really a debate unless you're a City or a Liverpool fan that you've seen them win at everything in recent years. Yeah. But for me, I've never seen us win the Prem. I've never seen us win anything in Europe. I was too young to really recall us going deep in Europe. So it'd be nice. I'd pick that every day of the week.
I imagine if we line up 1,000 Leeds fans asking the same question, we get the same answer. But yeah, interesting nevertheless. Let us know in the comments if there is any Leeds fans there that you would say, actually, no, come on, it only happens every 4 years. We've only got what are you in your 20s? So you've only got another 10 World Cups, 12 World Cups left before you part this world. Yeah. Maybe make it make sense. So let us know in the comments. Right, thanks, Chris. Off to Wolves then we go. We'll catch you the other side of your trip to Molineux. Enjoy it. We'll see you and Jacob back here next week to review both of that. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.